Democrat Eater here. I'm going to be talking about Palestine in this video on Omegle. Everything I'm going to be talking about in this video will be in the link description. It's going to be one article that talks about the oppression of Jews, the abuse against women and small children, the lying, the aggressive moves against Israel, and the staging of funerals and deaths. Yeah, that's what I'm gonna be talking about today. So let's get straight into it. First off, I'm just gonna be straight up. What's your opinion on the conflicts with Palestine? That's gonna be talking about first off. So yes, let me just apply to this real quick, and we're gonna get straight into this. Alrighty. Hello, how are you today?
I'm great, how are you?
I'm good. I'm recording, by the way, for my YouTube channel. Am I allowed to record you?
Sure, what's up?
Alright, cool. So I just want to ask you, what's your opinion on the conflicts of Palestine right now, between Palestine and Israel?
I am not knowledgeable enough to talk about the topic, but I think, despite the fact that both, to some degree, both are taking a very violent approach, I think Israel overall is in the wrong.
Israel overall,
But that is from a very limited understanding of the topic, quite honestly.
Do you mind if I just give you a brief rundown of what's going on? Probably gonna take like 5 minutes.
I have I know the brief understanding that with the Palestine, we have why Palestine was, after the Holocaust, it was given to Jews, but prior to World War One, after World War One, it was promised to the Zionists. Jews came into the region, a lot of displacement happened, the Arabs fought back in a war in 48, they lost, UN treaty happened, etc., etc. But I, it,
Can you? I just want you to tell me how you think Israel is in the wrong with this.
Well, I think that the very fact that you had this state of this mass immigration where people's land was confiscated in before 48 and given to another population was wrong inherently. Because when the initial Jewish state was promised, a lot of individuals were essentially stripped of their property.
Well, currently, what's going on right now is what most of the people's beliefs, and why they're supporting Palestine right now, is due to human rights. Do you know how bad the human right issue right now is in Palestine?
I don't know, no.
They have no laws, and it's in the article I sent you if you can see it in the chat. It talks about everything, literally everything.
Sure.
It talks about how they have no laws protecting the LGBTQ community.
Sure.
It talks about the suppression of women, and
Absolutely.
how women are legally required to submit to their husbands.
Oh.
By law, yes. Most of their law book is built by the...
Wait, is this the Gaza or the West Bank? Because if I know one thing, it's that they have two very different government systems.
They do, but
This is Gaza.
Yeah,
In
Gaza.
Gaza. Yeah, Gaza. I can understand. Hamas basically controls Gaza.
Yes.
No, I don't think that the Hamas government is in the right. No, but I do think to some extent, perhaps the PLO is better off. But even then, I think I'm sure they have their issues.
Yes, yeah. But most of their law book is made of the Quran, the Muslim Bible.
The Quran, yeah.
Yes. I don't know how to say it. I'm sorry.
Okay, don't worry about it.
But yes, incest, I guess, is legal in there. Fun fact: you're allowed to marry your first cousin in Palestine.
Well, I'm not ecstatic about that, but I don't think I really care about incest as much. I think.
Yeah, I was just throwing that in. I was just throwing that in. I was just throwing that in. But no, that article I sent you talks about
Yeah, but I think those are largely the human rights violations of Hamas and in Gaza. I don't think they reflect what's going on in the West Bank.
Yeah. Yeah, but Hamas is the biggest issue right now.
I don't. I mean, in the world or in the region?
Oh well, between the conflicts, yes,
No,
and and
well,
there's people that actually believe Hamas should, that the part where he controls, think Gaza, they think that part is totally in the right, and the only way for them to not be no
there's
longer
a
suppressed by the Israel government is to be made independent,
yeah.
separated from Israel. And
How many people believe that? Let me ask this.
people think Israel are the human right violators. Or say or
I
no.
mean, to some extent, they are.
How so? They offered to vaccinate all their Muslims.
Sure.
The Muslims are
Yeah.
allowed to pray, worship, anytime, anywhere they want to in Israel.
Okay.
What do you think Israel is violating human rights wise, modern wise?
Sure. Yeah. No. I think one of the main things was what they did to the ultra Orthodox community in in the Aceh province. There's this weird kind of law where that the Orthodox community doesn't have to serve in the military. Despite this, there was a lot of basically kidnap forced recruitments that occurred in the north near the border with Lebanon. Um, that was a human rights violation, not really specifically directed towards the Muslims, but it's something that they are struggling with. Press freedom is a big issue in Israel. I think the fact that one of the buildings that were bombed were for I think the press corps, I forgot what it's called, the Associated Press. There we go, and that was not a good move. I don't think you want to bomb the headquarters of the Associated Press. That's usually not the best move. So that doesn't really reflect good on your press freedom. Outside of that, they have other stringent laws, specifically with how brain death is classified, and some other really odd laws in terms of who is a Jew and what is a Jew that almost reflect an apartheid state.
Yeah. I see where you're coming from, but people, Jerusalem
Yeah,
has
but
been
people
bombed.
believe all these things, man. There's like a not insignificant part of America that believes that the Earth is flat,
Well,
or that what the Bible, everything happened in the Bible was real. Like, I'll be honest, like, people believe a lot of stupid things. I don't think that makes it right, though, right?
well, yeah, but it's crazy the amount of, like, Biden even considered even helping Israel through this thing because a lot of almost half the Democratic what's it called, Democratic government holders believe that Palestine should be free, and that Israel is majorly and severely suppressing the Muslim people, even though
I would say they are.
even though Israel is in to no extent as bad as Palestine. You
As
can
bad as
you
Gaza,
can you can
this
be
case,
you can be Muslim in Jerusalem and not be shouted death threats. You will not be kicked or attacked while during prayer. Rocks will not be thrown at your face. You will not be violently attacked.
yeah.
But if you were a Jew in Palestine, that would most definitely happen.
I want to say two things. One, that is true to some extent. I think more so though there are Jews in Palestine. I think more so that if you were Israeli or you were largely, in protest, then you would definitely not be very safe in Palestine. Um, but the current argument
Well,
I have,
if you were to be a Jew at all in Palestine, you are automatically not safe at all.
not necessarily. There are, especially
Oh,
in the
very
north.
necessarily. There's been multiple accounts of hate crimes against.
Oh yeah, hate crime, but there's hate crimes in America, bro. That's
Yeah,
not about
there's hate
how
crimes in
in the past.
America,
Yeah.
but the
That doesn't mean
it's a
that somehow
mainly
they're
it's a mainly Muslim state, if not entirely Muslim state.
Yeah, but would you
But
agree that there has been a rise in anti-Semitic crime in the U.S. right now?
yes,
The 78%
but
increase.
it's
Does
it's
that
not
mean that the
it's
U.S. government is reflective of anti-Semitism?
yes, but
And the
the
U.S. government is anti-Semitic.
huh?
I'm saying that
The
because
American government is not anti-Semitic. No.
okay.
What is okay? We're talking about Palestine and Israel right now. There are hate crimes against Jews. Jews are attacked in the middle of the street, mid-daylight, dark time, whenever, solely because they are a Jew, and the Muslims do not like that.
Yeah. Look, there is plenty.
That does not happen in Israel.
I do want to say two things. One, that there is plenty of anti-Semitism in the Middle East. Trust me.
Well, yeah.
Let's not gloss over that issue, and there are plenty of human rights violations. That somehow, though, doesn't justify one thing is there are northern neighborhoods in Palestine that are Jewish. Um,
You
and when
ain't
you
safe
talk
living there
about
though.
there's 5% of Palestine is Jewish. They are, I mean, they're relatively safe. I would say that to some extent they form their own communities and they have their own safeguards. Um, but I'm not trying to minimize the hatred. I know that in New York, for example, I'm a native New Yorker, um, and there was a lot of hate crimes against the Jewish community where they said, "Death to all Jews, free Palestine." I think to some extent, the Palestinian people are so frustrated that they have almost yielded to extreme violence. They're seeing that the entire Jewish front is somehow a front to their existence. And do I believe that a Palestinian state cannot exist with Jews? Like, does that mean that the Palestine will somehow be always anti-Jew? No, I don't. I think that the people are frustrated and they are taking extreme actions that are not reflective
They're
of the
taking
idea.
extreme actions against the whole religion.
Yeah, by all means, people are idiotic. I'm not gonna. There were people in Charlottesville marching against Jews and Christians too, but that didn't mean that America was somehow anti-Semitic. It's a
Well, yeah,
reflection.
because it's not as popular in America, population-wise. Probably,
Population.
probably about 80% of the Palestine population hates Jews, most likely.
Yeah, I mean, quite honestly, because I would say that to some extent that is the product of just the relationship going on between Israel and Palestine, that they see their continual existence as somehow like when you're trying to create a Jewish state, because Israel is meant to be a state for the
Is Yeah,
Jews.
Israel is supposed to be a safe haven for all Jews.
Exactly. Right? When you try to create something like that, and your entire basis of your state is that we are Jews, and you are trying to take land from individuals who aren't Jewish, and then say that because we have a historic claim and an ancestral claim that this is our land, they're going to form some negative opinion about Jews. That because you understand this isn't a first world country. These are people who have a very narrow view of the world, people who have a limited education, people who don't quite understand the complexity of this topic. They want to have a Jewish state and they're taking our fucking land. Fuck the Jews. That's their conclusion,
Yes, but
right?
the
And
the, the,
so
the
they're
point the
using some
point of
kind of
those people living there, the people who are in power, believing that nobody like that should be recognized as a country in this world, with those extreme
Do
opinions,
you
with
think that any
those extreme
country
ideas.
I think that this is my belief that no country that is any country that has a prescribed religion is bound to fail. That is that is my particular belief. That any country that has a particular religion as its state religion, that if there's no separation between church and state, it's bound to fail. And I think that the very creation of Israel somehow goes against my particular preferences, because when you create a state for a particular religion, well, you're going to exclude some people.
Yeah.
If you're getting a Jewish state, well, the Muslims are not going to feel like it's their country. Um, and so when we go to Palestine, I'm not saying that these people are acting the most rational way. That said, I do not think that they're necessarily doing something that is not valid. Like I would say that their grievances are valid, their actions are not.
Well, yes, but the actions is what making is what is making this thing such a big ordeal. People are supporting the freedom of a nation like this. People are
Yeah.
supporting someone in power, and the people of the nation that have those kind of beliefs,
Yeah, of
which
course
is
they-
which
I
which
mean,
which is which is not okay. I
No,
mean,
would do that.
probably besides China and Russia, Palestine probably is the most anti-Semitic, quote unquote, racist nation in the world
No,
right
no,
now.
no,
Oh yeah.
no. I would say Pakistan is a lot more racist than.
Okay, and 75% of Pakistan's population are made up of first cousins. It's a retarded country.
Wow. Okay, let's not say that.
Well, it's a fact. 75% of Palestine, not
Yeah, but we don't
Palestine's.
use the word mental retardation in the medical vocabulary. It's seen as demeaning, and also it's just not true.
Okay,
That
it
retard.
well, it's not true that they're actually retards. No, but they have the highest inbreed rate in that country. They have the highest um, first cousin rate
Yeah.
in that country. So
Look, I'm not ecstatic about this, but I don't think that there's definitely a cultural problem in those regions regarding that. That's not, that's definitely a medical issue, but I don't think that reflects somehow on. I don't understand the point you're trying to make by bringing that up, quite honestly.
well, I'm bringing it up because you're saying that's the most racist. Unless your country is not made
Not
up of
because of
70.
their
Well,
inbreeding.
unless I'm just trying to talk about countries that are not made up of over
They're
first
racist for a
cousin marriage.
variety of other reasons, and they're quite anti-Semitic. If you know what happened to the Ahmadiyya population there and the Shia population there,
Well, I know what happened, but
what happened?
re-say the name.
Sorry,
Re-say the name.
the Ahmadiyyas and the Shias?
Yeah, it was a genocide.
No, I
Yes,
mean
it
yes
was.
for one, not for the other. It was a complete state recognition, like complete state dismissal of them. The second the amendment of the Constitution of Pakistan uh, basically states that only Sunni Islam is the main form of religion. As such, many of the Ahmadiyyas, Sikhs, Hindus, and Shias were discarded from the nation. Many left in protest. A lot were forcefully converted. There are still are pockets of people that live there, and there's still many human rights violations that are going on against Hindus and stuff. Um, but no, I don't think that China and Russia. No, by hands down, I don't think they're the most racist. Um, I think like the most racist country. Oof, probably Monaco. No, probably something in the Balkans. Probably Bosnia or Herzegovina.
Talking about against Jews.
Oh, sorry, against Jews.
Yeah.
Oh, still Pakistan. Still Pakistan. Um, no, but if we're going back to the topic, no, I don't think that people support it because when the people see this issue, what they're seeing is it's their land, and you took that unrightfully and unjustly, and now you're giving it to another people, and then you're justifying it by saying, "Look, they're fighting, and they're hurting you." Of course, they're fighting. I mean, that's how people are. They react. They don't. People aren't gonna make every decision. Have you made any faults of judgment in your life?
Any false judgment?
Yeah. Have you maybe seen a person walking down the street and maybe think, okay, this guy looks like too burly in the middle of the night. Maybe I should go on the other side of the street. You've never done that in your life.
I've done that in my life. Yeah.
Okay. Exactly. You make these inferences, but you're educated and you've learned and you have studied that no, we can't just make generalizations about people. That is wrong. That is inherently wrong. It goes against the very nature of people. And honestly, the current human rights abuses in the Middle East are a reflection of one, a growing hatred of a neocolonial past, and B, an education system that has failed its people.
Repeat what you just said at the end. I didn't hear you.
Sorry?
I didn't hear what you said at the end.
I said, and an education system that has failed its people.
Yeah.
I don't think that the concerns of the Palestinian people are somehow discarded because of that. Because what their experience is real. They are being removed from the West Bank. There are settlements in the West Bank of Jewish settlers who are quite fanatical at times because they believe that it is their right to claim the Holy Land, and they are quite willing
Yeah.
to take
It is their right to fight back for what they believe what is theirs.
No, I don't. I don't think the right is nobody has the right to fight for the sake of fighting.
I never said that.
What are you trying to say?
If they believe that their land got stolen, yeah, they have the right to fight for it. Yeah, it's their land. Yeah. If they believe the Israeli government went and took that, yes. But another main big issue that I'm going to bring up right now is that they've just sent Hamas has sent over 1,500 rockets to Israel. Not regular rockets. These are rockets packed with shrapnel. Packed with shrapnel to maximize civilian casualties. These were missiles made for...
Where do you think they get these missiles? Do you think Palestine can afford it? Let me ask you that quite honestly, genuinely.
Well, it would be cheap. It'd be cheaper to get a regular missile than to get a missile with a regular missile than pack
That's
shrapnel
all
inside.
fun and dandy, but
That's
what
also
will
and that's also another, like, you are packing shrapnel into a bomb and hitting civilian areas.
okay?
Okay, no other country does that. No other country puts
No,
shrapnel in
we in
missiles.
America have. We in America have done much worse. We did napalm bombings of civilian locations in Vietnam. We put landmines in villages. But there was also the rape of particular villages in Vietnam. We've done that.
Okay,
And we've done much worse, much worse. The British have in the Opium Wars. They assassinated entire villages. Um, in India, the Bengal.
but does them doing that make what
Or
Palestine is
stopping
doing
them.
okay? Just because it's been done before
No,
doesn't
no, no,
mean
no,
it's
no.
okay.
I'm saying you asked the question that nobody does that. I'm like, no, people do that all the time. That's something that happens in war. Do I think war is okay? No. Do I think the actions we take during war are okay? No.
Yeah, but
Do I
something
think
needs to
war
be
is
done
war?
about a country, a fighting force, putting shrapnel in missiles and hitting civilian areas. Something needs to be done about that.
No, I mean
And
that's
Israel is
no,
getting pressured to not fight back. Israel is getting
Well,
Israel is getting pressured not fight back. Biden has personally talked to the prime minister, telling him not to make any aggressive moves.
yeah.
They've been bombed three. They've received 3 bombs from Lebanon, 5 from
Yeah.
Syria, and they're still
Let me
being
ask you-
pressured not
let me
to
ask-
fight back.
let me ask you this.
And now their civilians are being killed by shrapnel
Fair enough.
packed into missiles, and nothing's being done about that.
Okay, do you think the Apaches were wrong for scalping the settlers?
Do I think what the
The Apaches were wrong for having scalped the settlers.
for having scalped the settlers?
Yeah.
Yeah,
You think they were wrong, right?
yeah.
Okay. What did the settlers do to the Apaches?
What does this have to do with anything?
The settlers are
Because-
the Israelis, and the Apaches are the Palestinians.
I know.
Was it wrong for the Apaches to have scalped the settlers?
See, this is not what we're gonna do. We're not gonna compare to one thing and it just equals everything
It's
out.
almost directly translatable. To why is it not? It's a population that is moving in from a foreign country with a particular set of values into a region that has been inhabited by a very different set of people. Is it not the same? Aren't the natives the Palestinians whose land is being taken from them? If anything, it's worse because the Palestinians have a practice of homestead. The natives did not.
But just because they have done something does not qualify anything. Yes, both places are in the wrong, but if you are putting shrapnel into bombs and hitting civilian locations, that is not okay. It doesn't matter what the other country is
completely
does.
understand it, but I don't know
Just
why-
because two wrongs, just because
I don't know
something
who
wrong
did a
happened in the
person who did that.
past,
I don't
does
know.
not
My
mean
thing
what
is-
they're doing now is okay.
No, I completely understand, but I don't know who's gonna say this is wrong, because who's gonna go and tell them you're doing wrong? If America does, then the question becomes, okay, they're doing wrong, but what about the nukes we dropped in Hiroshima and Nagasaki? Like, who has the moral character to go up to this
That was
country
also over 100
or
years ago.
actions? Sorry?
That was also over 100 years ago.
Well, yeah.
The world has changed.
It wasn't over 100
the
years
world,
ago.
the,
Over
the
80
world, the oh my bad, 80 years ago. The world has changed since the Vietnam War. The world has changed since the World War.
Yeah,
There-
I found it fascinating that. Well, actually, no. We did some horrible actions in Iraq as well, and Afghanistan, the drone strikes, etc., hitting civilian targets. The world hasn't changed. It's just that whenever it becomes a different country, the rules change. Apparently,
Well,
It's-
why?
there are different rules that apply to America, where we can napalm bomb entire cities, where we can destroy and.
Okay,
ruin.
then let's make this a United Nations issue. Let's bring it to the United Nations.
No, I think that by all means that, like, what these the rules of war are being violated. But tell me a single war in the history of war that hasn't violated the rules of war, and I'll give it to you.
That still doesn't make it okay. This still needs to be made.
No, by all means. But then my question is, who's there to hold the moral ground? Like, I'm saying, look, yeah, you're absolutely right. This doesn't make it okay, but there's not been a single war. I'm saying that if we're gonna put Palestine on the stand, you gotta put America on the stand, you gotta put the British on the stand, you gotta put the French on the stand. You can't just have Palestine be the sole. Look, what we did in Iraq and what we did in
Well,
Afghanistan.
that's not the thing. It's not
No, but-
only
no,
it's
because your
it's not
argument is-
only that. It's not only that. The United Nations is slacking. Yes, they have not yet.
Look, my thing is, Well, if you
They're
believe what
lacking.
Palestine did is wrong, that's completely understandable.
They have not yet held Turkey accountable for committing war crimes against Armenia. They have not held
Well, let's
the
make that very clear. You mean a genocide, not just war crimes. That was a genocide.
100 years ago, but they just reattacked Armenia.
Oh, I see.
Here,
Oh,
hold
I
on.
see. Okay, yeah. Yeah, go for it.
No, did you not know? Did you not know about that?
I did with Azerbaijan and Iran,
Yeah,
Armenia.
yeah.
Sorry, I thought
They
you were
have
talking
not
about
they have not yet held them accountable. They have not yet held what's it called,
America accountable.
Myanmar accountable.
Burma, the Myanmar with the Rohingyas, yeah.
Yeah, they have not held any of those places accountable, which they can easily be held. This isn't like this isn't Russia or America where the nations are almost unstoppable.
Look,
These are this is
any
Turkey.
nation-
This is Myanmar. This
My
is
thing is-
Palestine.
my
These
thing
are
is that-
nations that
Yeah.
can be afforded to be stopped, and they need to be stopped. They need to be held accountable.
So your thing is it's wrong because they're small.
Well, Turkey's not small.
It should
They're
be,
the
no, you're saying that we should stop Palestine not because what they're doing is inherently wrong, because America is doing much worse.
Yes,
It's
but
because
we
they're
cannot
small.
stop America. We cannot stop Russia. We cannot stop China.
Look, but I'm saying that I don't know what moral ground you as an individual have to stand on.
I
when
think
you're
it's
saying
all wrong, but we should.
Palestine on the stand,
I
but
think
not
it's all.
America.
I think it's all wrong, but we should stop whatever nations we can afford to stop. Because if
I
we
say-
if we can stop Palestine right now, if we can stop
my
if we
thing
can
is,
stop
what's
Burma
your-
right now, that's going to save more civilian lives.
What you're saying is this. What you're saying is this. That somehow the rules of war do not apply to countries.
They
strong
apply to every country, but there's some countries that we cannot stop.
No, I'm saying put America on the stand. At least put America on the stand and make them admit it, or make them put them on the stand and rule them guilty. Okay, whether we can stop them or not, it will be a tarnish on the stain of the United States. It will be something that other countries will say, look, you did this, and it will be definitely something that could be staining on the prestige of the United States.
Well, yeah, we can
America.
say things, but we cannot physically go and stop America. We can stop Turkey. We can stop Myanmar.
At
We
least
can
put 'em
stop
on the stand.
Palestine.
Regardless of whether you can stop it, put them on the stand.
Oh, we can
Put 'em on the
we can-
stand. It's
Yeah,
fine.
well, everybody should be put on the stand, but we need to actually stop
Do
things.
you agree our actions in Afghanistan, our actions in Iraq, and our actions in Japan and Vietnam?
Our actions are in any single war has been bad. Yes.
Okay. So you're saying any actions where civilians have died is a war crime?
It depends, because one of the other main situations in the Palestine-Israel conflict is that there was actually a scenario where attacking troops attacked a Israeli guard. Then they ran into a building full of civilians, and now they're being attacked for a war crime because they went into that building.
Didn't the Israeli government, in retaliation, launch a missile strike that killed a bunch of civilians?
No, I didn't say they launched a missile strike. I'm talking about the soldiers went into that.
No, that's fine. No, I understand that. I don't know about that topic, so I'm not going to talk about that. My thing is the missile strike. Did they not kill a bunch of civilians?
Yes, they did.
That's not a war crime?
Well, that is nothing compared to packing shrapnel in bombs.
But the Israeli bombs killed more people. The Israeli government has the Iron Dome.
I know,
They
they have the Iron Dome, but Israel is not actively committing war crimes every single missile strike, like how Palestine is.
But they
Yes,
did in the-
I'm not.
they did in
I'm
the
not
Palestine.
saying
They did not.
that they should not be held accountable. I'm
but
saying.
they
I
did- they
am
not.
saying. I am saying that Palestine, which is currently committing tons and tons of war crimes every single day, by
Gaza.
okay, yeah,
Gaza.
I'm just gonna keep referring to them as Palestine.
No, that's fine. But I'm saying that I want to make it very clear because it's going on record that Gaza has been that. And if someone is watching, they should know that the situation in the West Bank is very different than in Gaza because this is being recorded. But anyway, continue.
I never said that they shouldn't be held accountable.
That's
Yeah,
fair.
yeah, and please don't bring this up anymore. I'm not saying that other countries should not be held accountable.
No, that's
I
fair.
never said Israel should
No,
not be held accountable.
my
But
thing is my thing.
Israel is not the major problem right here.
Okay.
Palestine, well, Gaza is the main issue right now because no country, no regular country is packing shrapnel into missiles and deliberately hitting civilian targets to maximize
Well,
civilian
we talked about
casualties.
how they have in the past, but let's just kind of talk about the current situation. So you're saying that because Gaza has tried. I think what you're saying is the because they didn't end up killing as many people because Israel has the Iron
Yeah,
Dome. So you're saying that because the intent was there, that they should be persecuted to a higher degree than Israel,
because
who ended up killing more
they've
people.
attempted in committing, I'd say, more higher grade war crimes than Israel has
I
during this conflict.
disagree. I disagree.
You disagree?
I disagree in that the consequences, the intent should be taken into account, but the consequences behind that, even a mistake, should be also taken into account. I think Israel should be held. Israel has killed more people in the Israel-Palestine conflict than Palestine has. The intent of the Palestinians has been a sort of revenge, and constantly they've tried to escalate.
During this conflict that has lasted, well, the most recent conflict that has lasted within the past, well, yeah, they've killed more Palestinians. They've
Yeah,
killed 1,000 Palestinians. Only 6 Israel people, Israelis, or whatever you want to
Israel.
call them, have died. You
And
know why more have
you know
not
where?
died? You want to know why more have not died?
Sorry, continue. I'll let you finish, and then I'll say something.
Yeah, not as many Israelis have died
Yeah.
because they have a stronger military, they have a higher defense budget, they have more defense weapons. If they did not have the Iron Dome, if they did not have all the defense products they have, if their military was a terrorist organization poking at an actual country, then yes, they would have had way more casualties.
Let me ask you this:
Probably looking almost into the 2000s if they did not have all this technology.
where did the Israelis launch these missiles?
They, let me pull it up. I'm pretty sure that they've only launched about, let's see.
Because I know they also hit targets in the
All right.
West Bank.
So, as of, let's see when this was posted. As of
They also did something in Syria,
As
which
of
is
May
crazy.
15th, 140 people have been killed in Gaza due to, looks like 3 different missile strikes, and only 10 Israelis have been killed during the conflict as of May 15th. Way more would have been killed if
It's
Israel
really-
wasn't pressured to stay quiet and not fight back. When you have Biden
Do you think
telling
how many Palestinians died again? I'm so sorry.
140,
140. Do you think 140 to 8 isn't a good enough rate? How many Israelis died again? I'm sorry. I think you said
they think it was, let me go back,
8 or 6, right?
10.
10. So 14 times. That's a multiple of 14. 14 times more Palestinians died.
Yeah, you know why? Israel was not the first ones to attack. Palestine sent 1,500 missiles to Jerusalem.
This isn't some peaceful scenario where
Yeah,
where
it's not a
Palestine.
peaceful scenario, but you're bringing in the kill ratios when it would have been way more
Because
on the
this is
it would have
war.
been way more on the Israeli side if they did not have the
Yeah,
Iron Dome.
because they are in a state of war with Palestine. Let's not act like this is some la-di-da situation.
Well,
They're in a
I'm
state of
not.
war
You're
with
just
Palestine.
bringing up the kill ratio.
No, I'm bringing up the kill ratio because you're saying that they could have done much worse. I'm saying this is much worse. So you're taking 140 lives, knowing full well that this region, especially in the West Bank, because they also launched strikes in
Well,
the West Bank.
this is reporting from the Gaza region. 140 people have been killed in Gaza.
They also did some stuff in the West Bank, but you're fully knowing that these people don't have a strike. They don't have a defense system. Knowing this,
Yes, but it's war.
what they're doing. No, so basically your justification is this is war. Everything goes. This is your justification.
Yes,
am I not?
Yes,
okay. So
because Israel was attacked first, and they're retaliating, and people are mad that Israel's retaliating.
They were not attacked first.
They were attacked first. There was a ceasefire, there was a peace, and then Palestine hit 1,500 missiles to Israel. Israel shot 4 missiles to Gaza, killed 140 people. And since Israel has only lost 10, is that why you're saying it's a different?
When have the settlers started moving into Palestine? When you're saying it's peace, okay, you're saying this is peace.
Yeah, there was no military fighting until 2 months ago.
The idea is in the West Bank. The idea inside of the West Bank. They're not. If this is peace, then the idea should have been outside of the West Bank. Despite the peace treaty having been reached, they're inside the West Bank. They have made essentially settlements. Look at the map of the West Bank and look at Israeli settlements, and they're dotted like it's a fucking smallpox, right? the entire So you're telling me that the Israelis didn't do the first strike? I'm saying the settlements are the first strike. They're literally taking their land.
But they were attacked by Gaza, not the West Bank. They were attacked by Gaza, and then they attacked Gaza back.
So you're saying this. Gaza strike them first.
1,500 missiles, yes.
No, that's fair. But you're saying this. Gaza is in the wrong.
Definitely, yes.
The West Bank, though, is not in the wrong. The West Bank has nothing to do with any of this. Are you or are you not saying that?
Yeah, but we're not talking about the West Bank. We're talking about the conflict. We're talking about the conflict against Palestine and Hamas.
I'm not trying to justify the actions of Gaza. I'll get to that. So when people say free Palestine, which part do you think they're talking about? Do you think they're talking about Gaza, or do you think they're talking about?
They don't deliberately say.
Okay. Which one do you think they mean when you tell them that Gaza is run by a bunch of terrorists?
Well, the people I've talked on here, I've even asked them, hey, what's your opinion on the conflicts? Like how I asked you. And they said Palestine
people have been racial realists. I don't know if you're using Omegle as your pool for your data.
I'm not putting any data on the table. I'm talking about what I've been talking about.
There are communists, and the Omegle tends to draw the extremes, not so much the average Joe.
Okay, but can you find an article that tells deliberately what everybody's talking about?
What do you mean?
Can you go on? I'm just talking about what I've talked about personally with people, person to person. Do you want to go try to look for an article that says people who say free Palestine is deliberately talking about West Bank or Gaza? Can you go find it?
There was an individual on CNN, and he went on, and they asked him, what is the situation? They said, they're taking our houses in the West Bank. Then they asked him about Gaza. He's like, look, I don't know what's going on with the Hamas in Gaza, but they're taking our land in the West Bank. Mm-hmm. And he said that quite explicitly on CNN. I remember that because it's the first time in a long time I've watched CNN. For a variety of reasons, I don't watch CNN. But I watched it, and it was kind of jarring because his house was being seized in the West Bank as the interview was going on. It was being seized by the idea. No, I think there's plenty of people who don't recognize. There's plenty of conflict between Hamas and the PLO anyway. The PLO doesn't recognize Hamas. There's an entire thing. Let's not go into that.
But the problem with Israel right now is that they're not recognizing the West Bank and Gaza as two separate little things. They're all recognizing it as one state of Palestine, and they're treating both sides.
That's not the fault of the Palestinian people, though, right? Who have the right to live and go on with their lives on their land. If it's your fucking farm and some dude comes in and you've lived here for centuries, this dude comes in, he's like, this is my land now, and if you don't listen to me, I'm gonna shoot you. Mm-hmm. And you're like, fuck no, I'm gonna fight back, right? You fight, you lose. You make a lie, you're like, all right, fine, you take that farm, I'll take this. And this dude is still sending in fucking people to take your farm. Of course you're gonna be pissed. The Palestinian people are pissed, and rightfully so. Some of them have turned to radicalism, especially in the Gaza Strip. In the West Bank, though, they haven't been able to. They just don't have the resources to even do that. The people there are just fighting to live. And when you say Israel is in the right, I would say, okay, then how are you going to tell this person who has had this land, whose mother and parents and who lived on this stretch of land for centuries, that no, this is not your land. Get the fuck out of here. Like, look, Look, I'm not saying that Gaza's in the right. I hate Gaza for a variety of reasons, Hamas specifically. Do I think the frustrations of those people are right? Yes, because their land is being taken. Do I think that why is Hamas growing? Why do you think Hamas is gaining steam? Why do you think Hamas is growing? It's because people are frustrated. Nothing is being done about the people in the West Bank. Gaza is a small strip compared to the West Bank. Go for it.
Yeah, like I was previously saying, the main problem, how the Israeli government is seeing this, they're recognizing West Bank and Gaza as one Palestine, and they're treating both sides as a Palestine.
Look, I am completely for taking actions against Hamas if we agree that all settlements have to leave Israel in the West Bank.
Well, yes, I think.
Because what Israel is doing
Yeah,
is
West Bank. Yeah, West Bank should be taken out of this. Yes, that's one of the errors from the Israeli
no, I'm
government.
saying that remove all settlements that Israel has inside the West Bank. All the Jews in the West Bank who have moved in because of Israel, who hold Israeli citizenship, they have to leave the settlements and have to go give the land back to their original owners. And if that is something that we can agree upon, then yeah, I don't think that anybody would disagree upon countering Hamas.
Well, yeah, if the West Bank was taken out of this picture, then yeah.
We can't though, right? Because
Yeah,
the people who
we can't because the Israeli government is looking at West Bank and Gaza as one Palestine.
exactly we can't. So when you talk about what is happening, the people are joining Gaza because of what's happening in the West Bank. In the West, okay, imagine this: West Bank is people trying to survive. These are people, and they're being picked on. If you see your brother get shot because some dude wants his fucking land, you're saying, "Fuck this shit, I'm gonna blow him up." The main
Yeah,
reason
hold on.
we could go for it.
All right, man. I gotta go. I gotta go in like 3 minutes.
Oh, it's okay. It's okay.
Yeah,
Can I at least get the YouTube
my
channel?
mom just made me a steak. I gotta go check it.
Can I get the YouTube channel this is going to be on?
Yeah, I got you. Yeah, this is gonna be completely raw, so I'm not gonna try to cut you down.
Oh,
Anyways.
that's wonderful.
Yeah, everything's gonna be raw. So I actually previously had a